Today's episode is brought to you by a bunch of Facebook friends who said they couldn't do anything.
Drop the beat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to High Noon Podcast, the competitive Overwatch podcast. I'm your host, The Blevins. With me, as always, is Deathblow.
How's it going, everyone?
Oh, man, we've got some technical issues. There we go. We got rid of them.
What happened?
Right off the bat.
Starting strong.
Yep. Everything's ruined. Oh, God, everything's ruined. But the audio cast is going to be fine, so I'm just going to fix it on the fly. But, yeah, we had let's just move right into it. Boy, we've been crying and moaning, and by we I mean mostly just me, trying to get to a goal that we set for ourselves a while ago for it's not useless, but basically useless YouTube link. But we got it, man. We got to 100 YouTube followers.
You can now check us out on youtube.com/c/High Noon Podcast, which is way better than just search us on YouTube and hope to find us,
and hope
which is our old plan.
Yeah, so guys, super huge thanks to everyone who subbed to the YouTube page. We got like a nice little pour in. So the story here is we were at for 3 weeks in a row we were in the 80s, and it was just like we would be like, hey guys, we could really use those subscribers, and it's like, okay, well, whatever. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? We're like 12 away. I just posted on my personal Facebook like, hey, I don't usually bug you guys with my video game stuff. Just go sub to my YouTube, please.
Right.
And people came out in droves. So now I think we're up to like 127 or something. Like we overshot it by quite a bit. But guys, huge thanks.
Brag for the number of friends the Blevins has. I'm just going to point that out there.
I have too many friends almost. Whoa.
It's a real problem.
Yeah, it really is. But so in that vein, so later that day, I made a little video, which, hold me to it, should be posted by the time you hear this on iTunes. I'm gonna upload it right after we record here. But it's basically a thank you video, so I won't go too much into it. And I also brought up a little potential new segment that I haven't even brought up to Deathblow.
I know. What the heck? I'm the last person to know what goes on with this show. This is ridiculous.
Should have been watching it live. But you'll definitely approve. It is an homage to Stump the Blevins. So it's not. I'm not going to say it's as good as Stump the Blevins, because I don't know if anything can ever be as good as Stump the Blevins. Quite possibly the greatest segment in podcast history. But it will be something kind of cool. Speaking of things that are kind of cool, new patron hype! Mr. Jeremy B is now an official High Noon Podcast patron at the $1 level. Thank you, Jeremy. You'll be getting a message shortly with a Discord link. And if you have a message that you'd like us to read on the stream, on the
well, you better up your subscription to a higher amount, because I don't think we do that for $1 patrons.
Oh man, I pointed the wrong way, but yes, I set you up for that one to toss you the feel bad alley oop so you can slam it down.
Right. Just build up their hopes so that I can crush them. It's good.
Exactly. But no, honestly, Jeremy, really appreciate it, and I will get you the Discord link very shortly. Yes. And guys, if you want to support us in the form of being one of our official patrons, head over to patreon.com/High Noon Podcast. We have a plethora of different prizes and rewards and tiers and everything. But seriously, thank you to all the patrons, and thank you to our newest patron, Mr. Jeremy B. But moving on with the support, Deathblow. See, we got a new little iTunes review ski.
We do. We have a 5-star review here
Ooh.
from Will Bill 12. He says, I really enjoy the voices of these guys, which is super important on a podcast. They are naturally funny and really understand how to make a show flow. The analysis of the game is top notch, and I hope they have more pros on in the future. Keep it up. Will Bill, thank you so much for the kind words. Even if they were all bold-faced lies, we appreciate them. Nonetheless,
well, I'm sure I'm sure that the part where that he hopes that we have more pro players is not a lie.
Yeah, no, I do. I have to admit that my voice might not be the worst thing in the world to hear, unless you're me. So, but it's so hard for me to fathom listening to me host a podcast. Well, it's always weird when people say nice things.
We can always talk a little more soft and have a nice, cool podcast where we just kind of mellow out and have a nice time.
Hit him with your oh, what's his name?
Bob Ross?
No, the super deep voice.
Super deep voice. You're gonna have to be more.
I'm so bad at memes that I don't know. Is it like the Chocolate Rain guy?
Oh, Tezande. Chocolate Rain. Some say dry and others feel the pain. If I sing any more, we're going to owe him money. So I.
But you can just do his voice in like regular conversation.
That's true. And I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but I fulfilled my 2008 Blevins dream by going on his stream, and he was streaming some random game. He had like, I don't know, 50 people in his stream at the time. No one was talking, so I just say, "Hey Tay, big fan," and he's like, "Hello, the Blevins. Thank you for watching." And I'm like, oh, yes, the 2008 version of me. I just went back in time, high-fived myself as a senior in high school, and just got all the props in the world. So, coolest thing ever.
Real life Craigasms confirmed.
Yeah, it was pretty much the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. But that did not happen to me last week, but we do want to talk about what happened to us last week. Deathblow. What happened?
Oh, man, putting me right on the spot, making me remember what I did this week, huh? So yeah, I've been trying to get back into streaming a little bit, but coming off the heels of that camping trip, it was really tough. So I finally got to play a little bit more this weekend. I'm up to like level 191, 190 even maybe, somewhere around there. So we're getting really close to prestiging. Other than that, I bought Civ 6 and it won't open on my computer. So I'm furious about it. And not too much other than that. Got my birthday coming up pretty soon, so that'll be a good time. But yeah, really quiet week, which really I needed, but it was like the first quiet week in a while. So those are a lot of like getting caught up with, with things that you've been putting off because you were busy. And I'm looking forward to another quiet week so that I can actually relax and play some video games.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have a pretty quiet week. Last week was just awful. It wasn't awful. It ended up being all right, but it was just very stressful for me last week with work. That's why we were kind of quiet on social media last week. I was basically just enthralled in real work, air quotes. I mean, it is real work. That's my real job, the one that pays the bills and allows us to do the podcast. But so I had some stuff with that. But I've been playing Overwatch, and I've been playing a lot of Battle Right, mostly because I've been playing Overwatch. Because I was talking with Deathflow yesterday, I think, or maybe it was 2 days ago. It was 2 days ago. I've been playing with my one friend Asian Yoda. We've been doing duo queue, which has actually for the most part been pretty great. We're both gold. Actually, he's like right on the cusp of platinum, and I'm in like solidly in gold. And we've been doing all right, but these last like few sessions have just been, it's just been awful. So like, and this is, and I'll tell you this, and take this with a grain of salt. When the first game you play, the first ranked game you play in a night starts off as a draw, just stop playing. You're never going to recover from that. Like if you start with a loss, sure, you can rally back. If you start with a draw, just don't play. Just stop playing Overwatch. Play Junkenstein's Revenge. Play Quick Play. Play something else. Don't
play Quick Play. But
okay, don't play Quick Play. Just play something else. Don't keep playing ranked because when you start with a draw, it's only going downhill from there.
to me, it all depends on how the manner of the draw, right? So if you attack first and your attack is just awful and you don't take a point, but you manage to hold on defense, like that feels like an accomplishment.
No, it doesn't.
Like
no,
to me, it's we did as worse as we possibly could, and then it's followed immediately by, well, we did as well as we possibly could on defense. So I'm okay with that. But if I don't know, if I defend first and I get, I don't know, and I hold them, I just feel like, yeah, it's such a positive feeling, and then just to be just absolutely dream crushed by just bashing your face into a defensive wall over and over and over again. I feel like it happened. More draws to me happen on Numbani than anywhere. So I'm picturing this on Numbani.
Yes,
you just keep going.
Absolutely was Numbani. I would rather just lose than get a draw every single time. Nothing about me, nothing about nothing feels accomplished about it. I ran into it where like we don't get his attack, and I'm like, I might as well just quit. It'll just save me time. I don't care if I lose the points at this point.
See,
it does not feel good.
Sounds like a gold tier attitude.
It 100% is, because I'm a gold tier player.
I gotta take my shots now until like next season, and I just place terribly, and you just crush me into the ground in ranked or something.
Yeah,
I gotta take all the shots I can.
At this point, I'm pretty much just like, I'm almost ready to hang it up for season 2, but people can still vote for me in the High Noon Showdown. Guys, it's almost running out. It stops, the contest ends at BlizzCon. Check out our High Noon Showdown. It's actually not our pinned tweet anymore. It's somewhere on our Twitter. Oh man, I don't have a good place to send people. Just look for it. It's definitely there somewhere.
We need a section on the website that's
for
devoted
giveaways.
to any giveaways.
Yes.
We probably won't have that this time around, but tweet at us directly if you want to enter and you really want to support the show, win a free T-shirt, and be able to put our logo on your chest when you walk around in all your at all your nerd conventions and things like that, like Blevins is about to do. We're more than happy to send it to you. It's just we like to keep the episodes as pinned tweets, which makes it difficult to keep the visibility on the giveaways high. So, it's still a balancing act. And
I might actually be able to now that, because I might be able to embed it into the website and like have it be like make a custom URL with our website.
Okay. Yeah, they might give us the tools. Well, we'll have to get me logged in on the account. And
it shouldn't be that hard. But let us move on to what did you guys do last week? A couple of nice little pieces. So the first one, our normal dosage of Overwatch Today memes. We have one here. It's so good. It's a picture from like a GameStop with a giant, with a guy carrying a giant Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy, and it says, "Play the game. Death blows phone. Shut down. Eliminated High Noon podcast," which is in reference to last episode where your phone just like went off like super loud, and I move
it to something that doesn't make noise when it vibrates on it, because it is totally on right now, but it's on vibrate. Usually it's I make the attempt to silence it on the phone, but it just wants to rattle whatever it's sitting on. So yeah, my bad.
Yes. So,
I'll never get better at that. Two things I'll say. My favorite parts about this meme. One is that's not an iPhone, which is phenomenal, because if it was an iPhone that close to my face, I'd be really upset about it. Also, I'm looking pretty good. I got in better shape.
But also, isn't that a Samsung Galaxy S7? So it's literally going to explode and end High Noon podcast.
I don't know. I got the Note 6, so it's at least the right manufacturer. It looks the same, except mine's black.
Right, but the Note 7 literally explodes.
That's good.
Wait, have you not heard about that?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I keep myself pretty well cut off from any news sources
It is literally. I'm not making this up. It is literally a federal offense to have a Galaxy Note 7 on an airplane. That is how explosive they are. Have you not seen? Okay, even cutting people off from mainstream media. Have you not seen the memes in like the GTA mods where people are throwing Galaxy Note 7s and they're just grenades?
No.
Oh man, that's been like all. Oh wait, you don't go on Reddit, so.
Oh Rip. Yeah, that's true.
Rip. But moving on, we also I just saw this today. Reddit user Blargety, which by the way might be the best Reddit username of all time, made a super detailed guide on how to beat Junkenstein's Revenge on hard. So if you guys haven't beat Junkenstein's Revenge on hard and you've got a 4-stack, I'll read that post, and it goes by like at what time everything spawns, like where you need to be, and all that stuff, like what each character needs to be doing, along with what the objectives are. So super cool, super interesting, and really really a good resource. So let us move on. Actually, Incaria, who was just in the chat but had to leave, so rip him not hearing his own reference. But it'll be a nice little surprise, because he'll be like, "Oh, I heard it. I heard the show. I was here for the show." But then he'll see and hear that he was referenced after he left. Incaria, a member of the Glemda Overwatch group, who makes the app Overnews. Guys, we're not sponsored. We're not actually like partnered with them. So I'm just saying this because I actually use the app and I really like the app. Go download Overnews. Anytime there's new things out that has anything to do with Overwatch, whether it's Sombra stuff, whether it's event stuff, whether it's basically anything at all that has to do with Overwatch, it's sending me a push notification that says, this is what's happening. They also have some articles and some other content that they do, but heavily and highly suggest Overnews. But
is there a way to filter out Sombra information? Because I'm so mad at Blizzard over the Sombra ARG that I would be the last thing I'd like.
Probably, but I'm not going to tell you how to.
I wouldn't actually do it anyways. I would just be bitter about it whenever they put it.
But and Carrie actually wrote an article, and I got to say I have mixed feelings about this article, only because I want the thing he wrote about so badly. Set items in Overwatch. So basically, like, you'd have, maybe 3 or 4 pieces to a set. When you got the set, you'd get something cool. Obviously, it wouldn't be game altering. It would maybe be like a special glow or something. Like, I don't know, say Tracer has 4 pieces of this set, and then when you get the set, her gun changes to something cool, or she gets some like cool particle effects, or she gets like a little trail that goes behind her. Purely cosmetic, purely, silly fun, but that's exactly what I want. And now, like, no matter what comes out, if it's not set items, I'm just going to be disappointed by Blizzard.
I can think of one thing that wouldn't disappoint you.
What's that?
Your stupid hats.
Oh, yes, but the hats could be part of the set.
The hats could be the rare set item. The one that's
oh my god! What if it's like beyond legendary? What if it's like only foil legendary? Man, what if they made foil items?
What if they made an Overwatch card game where you had to play lands to tap for mana and cast creatures and spells and artifacts and enchantments?
And you could crew up equipment.
Overwatch the Gathering.
Oh my god, literally dream come true. I just had a heart attack on stream.
There would be a second podcast coming from this tandem if they ever did anything like that. But thankfully,
1,000%. Also,
thankfully, I don't think we have to worry about it, though.
I think we can say it right here. If they reveal a new game at Blizzard, we're just priced into doing the first podcast about it. I will call you from the opening ceremony, and we will record the first episode of the podcast from the opening ceremony.
All right.
Confirm Marinoed.
Unless it's StarCraft 4, I'm totally probably in on that.
That would be really weird to do StarCraft 4 before StarCraft 3.
Well, it shows how much I care about and follow the StarCraft.
I would love to see Warcraft 4.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say there was another StarCraft after 2, right? But it was just an expansion.
There's 3 StarCraft 2s.
Oh, good.
I would love to see Warcraft 4, but I don't think it could possibly happen.
I'm waiting for that so badly. That would be phenomenal. We will podcast that one.
I don't think it could happen. So, okay, here's my fan theory. We're going off the rails pretty deep here. Good. Where would the story for Warcraft 4 be? Would it be like, would it work? Because like World of Warcraft's not going to die. Like the success of the new expansion, like it's not. I don't think they're going to kill it, right? Like I think we can agree on that.
It's got another expansion or 2 in it for sure.
Right.
And I've said that about the last 4.
So if Warcraft 4 came out, would we be seeing the same story progress just in a different type of game? Would we be seeing something like multiple years, like decades into the future? Like, or would we be, I mean, we can't really go back, right? Because Warcraft 1 is like the inception of everything. Pretty much.
Here's the cool thing about the Warcraft universe and lore is that time travel is all over.
Right.
all over. Like there's been entire zones and expansions dedicated to going back in time and
Wasn't that
redoing the
Miss
same thing
Pandaria?
you've done
Didn't
before.
most people hate that?
No, that was not Miss Pandaria.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't play that expansion, so there could have been
obviously
an element to it, but I had to level through it when I played in the expansion after it. And I don't really remember much time travel, but no, this is like, I mean, they had Caverns of Time and they brought back, like literally just brought back countless of the exact same instance you ran before. Same name, same everything.
Yeah.
Just updated for level. So there's definitely a way to do it. And really, I don't know if there's anybody I trust to do it and do it well, it would be Blizzard.
Sure.
So I have no issues with that, but it's an interesting question whether they go with it. It's just, possibly for another time.
I mean, I would be pretty excited for Warcraft 4 as well. So
I didn't care so little about lore. I just want an updated version of 3. Like if they just digitally remastered 3 and made it look nicer and a little smoother, I would probably just be all over it anyways.
Is it sad that I don't know which game I'd be less excited about, StarCraft 3 or Diablo 4?
I mean, I can answer that question.
I don't know which game I would play less.
Diablo 4 it's going to happen at some point.
Well, I mean, the Blizzard goodie bag has a dice bag in it, which contains a D4, Diablo 4, therefore Diablo 4 confirmed.
Well, when you put it in such a Illuminati confirmed style argument like that, I can't really dispute it, can I?
Nope. 100% confirmed. But let's move on. That was a little more off the rails than anything.
One more thing I want to mention quick from things that have kind of been happening in the community, even if it's not somebody directly related to the show. I've had a whole lot of fun watching Rudism streams lately. He has been doing some really, really cool things, from operating Winston. A lot of you have probably seen it because it's been pretty popular. I sent it to the Blevins and he's like, seen it.
Yeah.
But if you're like me and you don't watch Reddit and you rely on random things to show up every now and then, this guy is pretty awesome. He's been controlling Winston by literally plugging bananas into his computer. It's not a joke. He plugged bananas into his computer and used them to operate the character. Yeah. It was really, really fun, and he was sure terrible with it. But I mean, no judgments, because how could you possibly be good operating like the guy with bananas?
Right.
But he also did a second one, and that was Hanzo using a bow. And like he literally hooked up a Nerf bow to his computer so it would register the shots that got fired. And he moved with a DDR gamepad at his feet while he sat at his chair. And that one, he actually got like he had 3 shots in a row. 2 of them were headshots. And the third one was just like a body shot on a Zarya. But it's just, the guy has way more fun on any one of his streams than I have had, I think, in my entire life combined. And I'm an IT guy, but I have no idea how he does those things. I mean, it can't be super complicated. You almost need like an electrical engineering degree to pull off what he's doing, possibly. But at the same time, you could probably just study up and learn it. But I never will. So I just have to live vicariously through him and his stream. So twitch.tv/Rudism, RUDEISM, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. He's been featured on the Twitch Facebook page a couple of times, so you could find links to him there. Just something really awesome people are doing with this game that really can't draw enough attention to something like that, I don't think.
Yeah, it was super unique, super awesome, and I'm pretty sure he had overnight success with something as unique and awesome as that, and he deserves every single lick of it.
He got featured twice. Oh, he played Rocket League with a Guitar Hero controller in the past. He did Devo by setting up dual flight sticks.
Yes.
And he got to play the game doing that, which
awesome.
I thought didn't even seem like it would be a downside to play that way. Like it just really seemed, except for when you're desuited, right? Like Baby D was probably suboptimal, but I think you could probably get pretty good with the dual flight sticks, period.
Yeah, for sure. Of note, I used to play my friends in Mortal Kombat 3 with a Guitar Hero controller and crush them.
In what game?
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
That sounds like a game. I don't know. Obviously, I'm familiar with the brand, the Mortal Kombat name, but I didn't know there was a game out there by that name.
Yeah, it's like it's Mortal Kombat 3, but Ultimate is like the extra one they made. You know how like Street Fighter 5 and 4 have like 58 different versions of them?
I'd have to take your word on it.
Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Mortal Kombat 3 is basically what it was, but more specifically, it was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Gotcha.
But let's move on to the tournament talk. Didn't have a huge million amount of tournaments to talk about that actually happened this week, but we had some interesting tournament news. But let's start off. We had the Alienware monthly melee where we saw FaZe, Cloud9, Immortals, and Kingdom play in the top four, and we saw FaZe eke out Cloud9 3-1 in the finals.
And by eke out, he means crush.
Crush.
Grape.
Yeah. Like a delicious, delicious grape.
The one map C9 won in that finals was the freebie for making it through the winners bracket. It was a brutal final, to say the least. But
yes.
it started out, I got to say, I'll just kind of take over, talk about the event a little bit.
Yeah.
It started out looking a lot worse for Cloud9 because I don't know if you caught that last name he listed there in the Final Four, but there's a newcomer on the NA stage going by the name of Kingdom Esports. I don't believe that is an organization. I do believe they are seeking actual sponsorship, but I could be wrong on that.
I think you are wrong. I think they are an organization. I don't know what team they were, but I was looking into them before. Yeah, Kingdom Esports.
Oh, okay, yeah,
they got
a Smite team, and
they got a
stuff
check
like
mark.
that, so.
They got a check mark on Twitter.
Really good on them though. I'm very ignorant of esports organizations as a whole because there's not a lot of games I follow the esports on, but nonetheless, they really came completely out of nowhere. I hadn't really heard of this team before, and I just messaged Blevins and I'm like, oh, Cloud9 lost 2-0 to Kingdom Esports, and it's who? Like,
yeah,
who?
that's literally how it happened.
It's just a really impressive outing from them. Clearly a team that spent a lot of time in scrims and kind of stayed under the radar so that they could make this kind of splashy opening, and to finish in a top four for an invite-only tournament. There was a lot of really good names in this, and if you look at the group stages, you've got Cloud9, Rise, Tempo, FaZe, Immortals, Method, and Denial. So almost zero like lower-end teams, really. In the grand scheme of things anyways. Obviously the NA side of the bracket is very tiered and not a whole lot of parity there, I don't think, but that's why it's so great to see a team like Kingdom come out, finish number one in their group, and really just kind of made a name for themselves instantly. So I'd be very curious to see what kind of events they can get invites to in the future. You know, a lot of these events are just, there's no qualifiers, like that's how this Alienware event is. They just invite teams, and the best 8 that accept or whatever it is they go with. So great to see them come out and do really, really well here. They did have some other matchups. They beat Immortals. They beat, let's see, they had to have won at least one other one. Well, anyways, they ended up in a really, really close, really the only close match of the tournament, and it's like one of the only matches I didn't see, unfortunately, was the lower bracket finals of FaZe versus Kingdom. That went to 3-2. So all in all, this was not the closest tournament. It wasn't, there was a couple good ones early on in the upper bracket that were 2-1, but really once things kind of got leveled out to the point of best of fives, it got very solved. It was one-sided for most of the matches. So if you were looking for something to watch, I would find the VOD for that Kingdom OW versus FaZe. It's on my to-watch list. I haven't found it yet. Hopefully I'll remember to put it up on the website once I do, but a great up-and-coming team, a roster I'm not very familiar with, so I'm really curious to see how these guys continue to grow. It'll be interesting to see if maybe they were a little bit of a fluke, just kind of came out of nowhere, but Canadian, so Ajax, Man of Snow, Juvenile, Jesus is on this team, literally. Sherlocky and Connor JJ. So props to those guys. Congratulations on your kind of debut here. It was very successful, I think, and I look forward to watching them in the future.
Apparently, according to Star-Lord, they used to be Elusive Gaming, which, again, not a huge top-tier name that we've heard a ton of anyway. So
definitely completely off the radar, too, in the conversation for top 10 in the region very fast.
For sure. So yeah, definitely. I mean, it's actually kind of been a while, and I would say, at least in NA, maybe like Tempo Storm was like the last kind of team we saw. I mean, Grouchy Desperados, our old favorite team, was not huge when they were grouchy. They just kind of entered that one tournament because someone dropped out. Remember, that's like how they, and then they were Northern Gaming, and they did all right. We haven't what was the last team in NA we saw come out of nowhere like Kingdom? Like, I honestly don't remember. Like,
I think they were Korean teams coming to play in our league. And it's not been, like we've said, the suspense is on the EU side. I still believe the best team is here on the NA side with Envy, though that gap seems to be narrowing, but it's so hard to tell with Envy overseas, getting all that practice in Asia. Who knows how they'll be when they come back? But it's been pretty solved over here, so it's great to see this kind of parity. And like you said, we don't see a lot of these teams come up and compete for like finals and take out these top teams. You see them steal a map from somebody but still lose, and then fight through the winners bracket to get into the top 4 and then lose right away. And you don't see them often go all the way through to the losers bracket finals. And it was a really close game, so it was just an all around very, very impressive performance from them. Yeah, definitely going to be keeping our eye on them, whether they keep going. And my follow alert is going off right now, so thank you for that. I didn't even know I had it up, which is really weird. I actually don't know how that's happening, but sorry about that, podcast people. But so we'll either be watching the crash and burn of Kingdom Esports, or we'll watch them ascend. It'll be fun one way or the other. So the other tournament that kind of kept going, it didn't really happen per se in a tournament sense, is the OGN Apex Season 1, still going on in Korea. And I'm just going to go over some of the notable results in the different groups. So in Group A, the only 2-0 in Group A is Rogue, our good friend Mr. Pluppinator. Group B has BK Stars, who we haven't really seen in NA at all yet. They're 2-0. NRG, home of Seagull, 1-0. And notably MVP Space, who I believe we did see in Gosu Gamers Weekly a couple of weeks ago, is at 0-3. Korean team 0-3. So Group C features Envious, which is 2-1, and I'd have to double check, but I don't know who ended up beating them. But that's interesting. Yeah, they did. They definitely suffered a loss, which is a surprise. They are still winning their group currently. Yes. So no major cause for concern, but I think it's almost a 12-week league too. So right. That's the other thing, is like each one of these games specifically, like you're not like, oh man, the Red Sox lost their week 6 game. What are we gonna do? It's like, no, they play 160 games a year. So, and I definitely, I think we've all kind of gotten used to the fact that Envy is going to lose some games, not a lot of them, but that they are going to lose. Like, they've lost, on 2 pretty big stages now, the 2 biggest stages almost, you could say. So it's like, yes, someone beat Envy, and that's definitely an accomplishment for them, but it's not like, this guy's not falling anymore. It already fell. Right, yeah. Envy has lost. They've officially dropped enough, or the gap's narrowed enough, not that they've dropped, other people could have come up, that they don't have that intimidation factor where anybody goes into it going, well, can't win. Like, that's how we'd all be if we played against them. Oh, absolutely. We're not pro players, but the other pro teams have a shot now. They, Envy's shown weaknesses. They've shown that they're human, that they can make mistakes, and they're definitely beatable. But I'm with you. My eyebrows are raised at that 0-3 from MVP Space, because those guys looked better than the run-of-the-mill NA teams when they were here, and that's a little scary. Now, it's reassuring that NRG and Envy and Rogue are all there, reunited, doesn't have a winning record, but they're doing well. All these guys are holding their own. They're doing a good job. I'm not worried about the Asian scene taking over right now, but I think we talked about it last week. These guys are behind. They didn't have as much practice as the NA and the EU teams. So the fact that they're, MVP Space looked that good compared to most of NA, and then now they look that bad compared to the rest of their region, might mean that they're on average better than the NA and the EU teams are now, just maybe not the top, better than the top 5. Right. But I mean, at the end of the day, what we're going to be covering and what we're going to be watching and what esports is going to be comprised of is just the top, right? Like, it doesn't matter if the top Asian team can beat every run-of-the-mill schmuck team. Like, who cares about those people? Right. And, you know, it was Luxury Watch, not MVP Space, that won the weekly here. Like, MVP Space did give up, but they had some really strong players. Like, MVP Poro on McCree. He was playing him when McCree wasn't good. And now McCree's good again. You know, he's not as good as he was, but he's very viable now. And just, they play different heroes than we do in a completely different way. So I'm very excited for, it's a year away, but I'm very excited for the first World Finals where we get these guys in for the highest stakes possible and the presumably the biggest prize money that the game has seen yet, and things like that. So it should be a whole lot of fun when everything gets mingled together at these lands.
Yeah, this is, you know, these are still the opening days. You know, the game is still very, very new, and we're seeing, you know, the different regions come together, and this is really awesome. So let's just finish up the rest of this this tournament. Also in Group C, Lunatic High, who we've seen in they're a top 10 Gosu Gamers team right now. They're 1-0 in their group. And then rounding it up in Group D, we've got Luxury Watch Blue at 1-0, Reunited at 1-1, and Kong Du, who I'll be mentioning in just a second, is 0-2 right now in the OGN Apex Season 1. So again, this is just, you know, another week. I think we'll kind of pick and choose some of the notable results from the week, and we'll go from there. So definitely a really, I do like this league setup. I think we definitely want to have one of these leagues, and we'll be talking about another league, another Overwatch league in just a little bit, but let's move on. So we've got 3 of our 4 finalists for the MGA, the Masters Gaming Arena finals that are going to be held in December. Ninjas in Pajamas is going to be representing EU. They won their qualifier. Kong Du, who is 0-2 in their placements, or in their Apex League. Kong Du ended up winning the Asia region, and like we talked about last week, Rise Nation is going to be representing NA. Now, one more team is going to be in these finals. It's just the 4 teams. That team is a, quote, direct invite. So I'm guessing it's just up to the people running the tournament, which I believe is MSI. They just get to choose who shows up.
Yeah, it'll in all likelihood be the best team that's available that they can pull just to fill out the tournament, make it the best matches that it possibly can be.
Yeah, so Rogue, confirm Renoed.
Or Rogue or Envy are the two big highlights, but I don't know because they're both overseas. I don't, you know what I mean? And it's,
well, I mean,
I don't know when exactly the finals play out.
It's in December. It's December. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's not for a while. Remember, so, and it's a LAN in London, I believe. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. But you know, I'm rooting for Rogue unless I'm on a team for some reason. Then I'll be rooting for that team. Unless that's also Rogue.
I've got a
an announcement to make, guys. I'm on Rogue now. Steve Aoki is my cousin, and he said I could be on the team.
Oh, good for you.
As the janitor.
Rip Rogue.
Rip Rogue.
even as the janitor.
Yes. Yeah, I'll somehow ruin it.
It would just be gold tier janitorial duty, you know.
Oh man, savage. I'm just like leaving crumbs everywhere. It's just like I'm only like throwing away like 80% of the garbage. It's just awful. It's just an amateur job all around.
You're like really good friends with all the ants, though.
Yeah, all the ants. But also coming up, we had announced today, MLG Vegas is going to be happening December 16th to 18th, and at MLG Vegas, which usually features Call of Duty, Halo. We went so many episodes without mentioning Halo, but now MLG is going to be featuring a $100,000 8-team Overwatch Invitational. So.
This is what happens when you go to dinner with Phelan. Don't do that anymore.
I know. I actually did go to dinner with Phelan. But yes, we mentioned Halo the very next episode. Rip me, rip everyone. But yeah, that's pretty sweet. If it wasn't so close, MLG Vegas, if it wasn't so close, like in not that many weeks, and definitely, you know, like a month after BlizzCon, I would consider going.
We really need to get something northeast. Like they just need to put something in New York City or something like that, so that we can get there.
They've done a League of Legends tournament in Madison Square Garden, which I believe is going on right now, or it was definitely going on last week. I think it might still be going on. They did an ESL in New York City as well. PAX East is in Boston, so maybe there might be something at PAX East. That would be cool. I might actually be going to PAX East with Phelan, so we might be able to get something going. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's in March.
I might be interested in going to PAX East as long as it doesn't happen during football season, because I can't go to Boston during football season.
Is football season in March?
No.
Okay, then you're good to go.
I won't go to jail.
So Buffalo jail. So yeah, MLG Vegas, $100,000 Overwatch Invitational. They haven't really announced too many other details other than that, but definitely a sweet tournament going on for that. And also, quite possibly the most interesting news in terms of new tournaments is that Blizzard officially confirmed that they're going to be having their own pro Overwatch League.
Yeah, and also because I read into the lines and things, the same article where they talked about that, they also had the Blizzard CEO talking about virtual reality. So the dream is still alive.
Oh, man.
That we get Overwatch ported into virtual reality, and I'm going to hold on to that dream until somebody tells me, no, idiot, that's never going to happen. Shut up about it.
It'll happen.
So
it'll definitely
it's
happen. Or at least a
almost
viewing, like the viewing, like VR viewing. Holy crap. How awesome would that be?
right.
Like the VR like Dota thing is sick. It's amazing.
Is it just for watching?
I think so.
So you basically, I'm guessing they put you in like a room and you're watching on this huge flat screen.
I think there's some of that. I think you can actually like go into the map and like look and like walk around the map too. I don't know. I obviously haven't checked it out because I don't have VR, but I think it definitely could happen.
Yeah, well, we'll have to check it out because I can bring my VR over to your place and we could take a look at it if it's on the gear. It sounds like it might be too complex for the phone platform to handle, but we'll see.
Who knows? But
the Pro League definitely. I mean, it sounds great. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. How we want this. You know, it's the best form of the game. We were talking about as NBA teams and real sports teams start to buy these teams. Like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to organize and get set up? Because it's really something we need. Other than as great as these pop-up tournaments are, I love it. The Alienware Monthly Melee never has any notice, which is a little frustrating. But at the same time, you never know what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, I'm leaving work and I look at my phone and Slasher sent a notification to the OW and this tournament live right now. And I'm like, oh God, I got to get home. Hurry up.
Yeah, except I get those notifications at 3 a.m. saying that the Apex League is going on.
That's the Asian ones. But,
I'm like, how? But here's the thing. Why is he always up at these times? Like,
well,
he's
if you
always
notice,
up.
It's not actually Slasher doing those ones.
Oh, okay.
There's he's got a mod team or an admin team, and he's got I'm guessing some Asian guys that are awake at those times to post some of the things.
Gotcha. But yeah, I do agree, and this is a little bit going into the next segment a little bit. So I'll just play the clip now.
Oh, let's break it. Yeah!
So, yes, let's break it down. I agree, and I was thinking about this week with the announcement of MLG Vegas and the announcement of the Overwatch Pro League, is that, like, we've gotten to the point, and I think it's a good problem to have, and we've talked about it before as well. There's just too many Overwatch tournaments. It's not that there's too many Overwatch tournaments. It's a little bit that there's too many Overwatch tournaments. It's that there's too many like random new Overwatch tournaments that have very weird names that aren't. It's like Kings of Ice and Fire and Flame Lords Season 7. It's like I don't know what this is, but it's not Gosu Gamers Weekly number 99, so I don't care.
I'd be okay with random ones if there was like a schedule to them. It's just that right now we're having this problem where like we look at what September was, and it was just, I think it was September, might have been August. It was just Overwatch overload where you just couldn't possibly, like every day I came home from work, I started the VOD that had been going since noon, and I just got caught up. I skipped all the fluff in between the matches. I love the fluff in between the matches. Yeah. We hang out with Hex. We like Hex. I love when him and ZP are goofing around in between matches. Twitch chat might hate Overtalk. I don't. I know Blevins doesn't either.
I think
So,
everyone actually loves Overtalk, but they love complaining about
Yeah.
Overtalk even more than they actually
That's
love
true.
Overtalk.
That's probably accurate because the guys, for the most part, all the commentators for this game so far have been very, very good and are very professional and good at the filling the gap and filling those time frames with relevant information. So I forgot a little bit where I was going with this, but so I'll just shut up and let you take it over.
No, but like I think it's tough because it's like, you know, why am I watching random 15th new tournament with a like $10 prize and they somehow got, you know, one pro team to go to? Like why am I watching that tournament? I don't know. Because it's Overwatch, sure, yes, I love watching Overwatch, but like I want to have, and I think the scheduling, I agree with you 100%. The scheduling is the biggest thing. Like I want to be able to know that on Saturday I'm going to be watching the Gosu NA or the the Gosu EU, Sunday the Gosu NA. I mean, not necessarily that tournament specifically, but like I like knowing that on those days, you know, between this chunk of time and this chunk of time, that's what I'm going to be watching. And, you know, before it kind of became defunct, like Friday, King of the Watch, like I love that. I loved having that like set time. Like this is what you need. Like if you want to watch it live, you tune in now. It's not like, oh, well, we're having this tournament. And even though we announced it like 5 days ago, it's a one-off tournament. We're never going to have it again. And it's a, you know, $15 prize pool. It's like, okay, I want to have, and, you know, maybe these numbers are just kind of off the top of my head. I want to have one pro league. I think, you know, the official Overwatch Pro League is going to be great for that. Maybe two. Maybe like a level pro league and, you know, an amateur development. Sure. So 2 leagues. I'd like having the like sort of shorter tournament that's more like a series, like a King of the Watch series, where it's just like, you know, a couple hour tournament, they play a couple of matches, like a show match almost. I'd love to have a weekly show match like that. I think that those tournaments are great too. And then I'd like to have, you know, formalized, you know, regional tournaments, maybe quarterly tournaments or seasonal tournaments. That are like, you know, big tournament end of the month, big tournament end of the quarter, big tournament here, and like like as the year plans out, like this is what it's going to, you know, these tournaments feed into this. Like it's very confusing because there's so many of these different tournaments. Like what do they do? What do they mean? Like are some of these leagues or some of these just like one-off tournaments? Are there going to be? Is it a tournament series? Like is any of it leading into qualifiers? Like I don't know. And we don't know necessarily unless you like do a bunch of research, and we're covering the game. You know, there's just so much stuff. And I think, you know, obviously it's because everyone is trying to get in on Overwatch. Everyone's been trying to get in on Overwatch all at the same time. I think you know, we'll start to see once the pro leagues start, you know, really developing, we're going to see some of the stragglers kind of die off. There's only so many top tier Overwatch teams that are going to be playing in these tournaments. You're not going to get Cloud9 to play in your random $15 tournament because it's just not worth their time. Even if it was a higher prize pool, they might not play it just because it's not worth giving out their strategies to try to win it, or it's not worth the time to show up. So I definitely think that maybe not necessarily the number of tournaments needs to go down, but the formalization process needs to increase. And the scheduling needs to get better too. So
yeah, and let the random stuff be the lesser teams. Let that kind of be your development. I think that would be good.
Yeah, but I would rather see like a league or like a weekly tournament, just one, maybe 2 like weekly tournaments that are just development that maybe feed into something else. I don't know.
Right.
But we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about, and we're already kind of running. So let's go through some of these PTR changes.
Fun fact on the PTR changes, while we were going through the tournament results, my PTR updated again. It was about a 0.5 gigabyte patch, so there is content changes to it. They have enabled ranked play on the PTR now, but we don't know what else has happened yet, so we might be adding to this list as we go. Just keep that in mind. We probably want to keep a decent pace through these.
Okay, so first one, there's some general changes. Dealing damage to non-players like Torbjorn's turrets or Symmetra's TP no longer charges ultimate abilities, and the ultimate costs have been increased by 25% for all heroes. That's a pretty big one.
It is.
Fewer
It's really
ultimates.
going to change the way things work, and it's going to inadvertently nerf some characters more than others, but you'll see them kind of compensate for that on an individual character basis as you go down.
Oh, and I want to mention,
take a little
mention
bit of
something
balancing.
before we go deeper into these PTR changes as well. They've said, if you haven't read, they are taking a little bit of a different approach on the PTR now, right? They're saying we're going to make potentially drastic changes to really test and see if this is something that's going to work, if it's going to be fun, if it's something you guys like, if you think if it's something you detest, if it's something that's going to break the game. They're going to instead, in the past, they're like, okay, we've got this. It's already pretty much iterated the way we want it. We just want to make sure the game's not completely broken when it comes in. But most of the time, it might actually have been every single time since the game's released. Every time they do PTR, it's just like, we're doing this for formality to make sure the game's not literally broken, but we're going to be putting this in the next patch.
Yeah.
As is.
So take all these with a grain of salt. If you're like, that's ridiculous, that's the point.
Yeah.
We're trying to push the envelope here, and we shouldn't actually expect anything we talk about to officially make it into the game. Although I have a feeling the ultimate cost increase for all heroes is going to stick.
Yeah, I like the change, honestly. I think, you know, a lot of the commentators and a lot of people that follow Overwatch as much as many of us do is like, yeah, the game kind of breaks down to like, it's all about ultimate control. Obviously there's skill involved, but once you kind of like max out the skill level for every person that's playing, like a lot of these pro teams are, it's like, okay, it's like, can you string these ults together? Can you do this? It's all about ultimate control, which, you know, that is a game. That's a game that is, you know, that's a legitimate strategy for a game to have. It's just not necessarily, you know, I don't necessarily like having every single thing be about ultimates all the time. I like having ultimates be powerful, and I like having them, you know, swing the tides of battle, but I don't want the entire game to be based around the ultimate all the time.
Yeah, it's much more palatable to have those really powerful ultimate abilities if they come up less frequently, if it feels like you have considerable amount of work to do to get there. Whereas if you're a skilled Hanzo, you can charge your ultimate in like, I don't even know, 35 seconds if you're just hitting your shots. Like, it's really, really fast.
Anna and Mercy and
even McCree can build his crazy fast if you're good at hitting your headshots. So, and it's really, you're still going to get a similar benefit. It's just going to be less swingy, and really anything that reduces the Twitch chat spam about people that can't kill more than one person with a Death Blossom to act like pressing Q takes no skill. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the ultimates are the highest skill cap abilities on these heroes, but let's be real. I mean, they're it's not nothing. Like, I can't go kill 5 people with a high noon, but if you listen to Reddit or Twitch chat, like, it's just, oh, you just press Q and then everybody falls down. It's like, no,
I press Q, I have no aim, you guessed it right, Reaper main.
I was gonna say, I don't think you can go with McCree main on this. That's not gonna work.
Well, you could. You don't have any aim, you just kind of
Pushing us along a little bit here, we're going to look at some of the individual heroes and the changes that they have. And first on the list is D.Va. She is getting, or at least experimenting with, her mech health being increased to 200 from 100. The armor remains at 400. For those of you that aren't 100% sure how the armor and the health works, you're viewing it as she's had 500 health this whole time, and now she'll have 600. The difference is that armor regenerates after not taking damage for an extended period of time, so she can't ever go like from 1 HP all the way back up to 600. She'll go to like 401 and stay there. Her movement speed while firing has also been increased by 25%. Her call mech, or call merch, whichever you prefer, ultimate has been decreased by 20%, so really trying to undo the change in the ultimate cost being increased by just allowing her to get back into the mech at roughly the same pace. It'll still be 5% slower than it was. Their comments were, this reduces the cost back down to what it was before the global ultimate cost. Okay, great. No comment at all. Thanks, please.
Yeah, I like
Do I
D.Va.
just alternate on these or no?
It doesn't really matter. I like D.Va. I'm happy to see this happen. I want to see her get better. I hope she's not broken, because then, like, I want her to be just good enough where she's not broken, so they'll keep the changes in, because if she's broken, they'll just revert her or make her less good. I want her to be very good because I love D.Va.
Yeah, I want her to go to her play usage that she was seeing right after the last buff, before people figured her out and everything. It really felt like she was going to be part of the rotation
Yeah.
and part of the meta game, but not dominate it. They were so close, and then people just figured her out, and she fell back down
Well,
again.
I feel like it'll make a lot of sense to play her if the game itself shifts away from it being all about ultimates, because like that's her biggest flaw, right? Is that her ultimate is not necessarily one that works very well with other ultimates. Honestly, as someone who plays a lot of Diva, most of the time I'm just using my ultimate as an extra life. And sometimes it gets a kill, and that's great. I'm very rarely like trying to use it offensively. I'm just using it to recharge my mech.
Just clear a point if you're on defense or something like that, but you're not often like, oh, I'm going to murder the whole team. Go.
Yeah, that very rarely happens. So now I think she's also a pretty good. She's a really good like counter character for alts. Like if you can time and eat their Pharah alt or their Zarya alt, that is just game break. That's point breakingly devastating. Like you are going, like if they're planning on doing like a wombo combo with Zarya and you eat her alt with your E, like, or with your right click rather, that's insane.
This is about 90% of the reason I don't play Zarya anymore.
Yeah, it's very tough when that happens. But so Soldier, moving right along, his pulse rifle bullet damage increased from 17 to 20. Maximum bullet spread increased from 2.2 to 2.4. So damage buff, I think definitely needed. He's just been like Soldier mediocre for the longest time.
Look at you, not McCree, being not McCree.
I know. Like, why don't you just pick McCree instead? I don't know. I don't have a good reason. I don't have a good answer for that. Mostly because I'm just not good with McCree.
I was gonna say because I'm bad.
Yeah,
the spray and pray plan.
Yeah. And bullet spread increased from 2.2 to 2.4. I'm not 100% sure what that means exactly.
Well, when you fire, you know how it spreads out as you go, as you hold the button down. It's just going to spread out a little more. It's more of a possible range that it can randomly go to.
So it's like kind of like a burf, but it's mostly a buff.
Yeah, it's a significant buff, but they're doing a little bit to curb how much they expect the 3 damage increase to the bullet to impact things.
Gotcha, makes sense. Anna, now her nano boost no longer increases move speed.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
It's a good one, I think, too, because it really is going to put an emphasis on the disengage and re-engage plan, and it's going to make that so you don't need to have an Anna to sleep the Reinhardt that's coming at you at 95 million miles an hour. You're just going to be able to activate your Lucio speed boost and get out of there, and he won't be faster than you anymore. So a really, really positive change. One I think probably was needed. I don't have any problems with it increasing move speed. It just can't be as powerful in other ways, and I'm completely fine with this being how they choose to attack it.
I think this is the most fun way they can do it, because you're still going to feel like unbeatable, but people can run away. So you can't just like, oh, go Reinhardt and then go be behind, because 90% of the time, like for whatever reason, the Reinhardt's like way up in front, and then when you try to ult them, they like run away for some reason. And now like if they run away, they're going to get punished. They need to be like moving towards them in the first place. So
yeah, and then they yell at you for not healing them after you ultimated them. It's a lot of fun being
garbage. Hashtag gold tier. So May had her Blizzard ultimate cost increased by 15%. Rip.
Yeah, so I think that's really what pushed her into the metagame so strong, was just that the ultimate was that much bigger. It was that much harder to avoid. Sure, if you want to make a bad pun, we can do that. That's what we're all about here at the Hydra Podcast. So it's, I think, a really positive change. I've been playing May because I'm a slave to the meta game, and I will just play whatever I'm supposed to be playing at any given time to balance my team out and give us the best chance to win. So I've been playing her a good little bit. She's fun to play. She's just miserable to play against. And I don't think this will change the frustration that May instills in people, but at the end of the day, it'll probably help because it'll just curb how often you see her a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Lucio, amp it up, healing per second decreased by 10%. Wah, wah.
Got to do something, because nerfing the speed didn't do it. You have to make it so that way to get the mobility, you're sacrificing the heals. So I agree with this change completely. I think if he's going to be the only guy that can improve everybody's speed across your whole team, then he shouldn't also be the best healer in the game, right? Like,
Sure.
It just kind of stands to reason. So another change I think is really positive, though. Poor Lucio and all the people that play him, like myself, if you rely on it, start spreading out your hero pool, get a wider variety, because this might be the one that does it. Because if you can't keep up healing people, does it really matter how fast you're going?
True. Yeah. So I've been weaning myself off of Lucio. I've been playing more Anna, hence my frustration earlier. So I remember back in the day when Lucio did a lot of damage, but I think that was back in the day when you also built an alt charge by taking damage. So moving right along, Zarya, and this one brings tears to my eye. Particle barrier power gained from barriers decreased by 20%, as well as from her projected barrier. So she's gaining fewer percent per barrier. 20% fewer. So you're going to need to throw up more barriers really to get that power.
Yeah, 20% doesn't sound like a lot, but if this works the way I think it does, you were getting 50% before. So if they just mean you only get 30% now instead of a shift and an E at taking the maximum amount they can, right, would put you at maximum charge. Now that doesn't even put you at half, which is kind of crazy.
Wait,
now, if this just reduces it 20% of what it used to be,
it would put you at 60, wouldn't it?
Well, that's what I'm not 100% sure. It really all depends, because if it was 50 before. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, 60. Yeah, you're right. So if it works that way, it would be 60%, but still it makes it so that my point was that it makes it so that you need a fourth shield in order to do it. Now, it could just take 20% off of what you got, which I don't know how the math would work out on that. Then it would probably be only 3, or maybe I'm just wrong and I'm thinking of the same thing and just think they're different. I didn't crunch any numbers on it, but it's a significant change, and I think a needed one.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the power of the Zarya is the fact that you're shutting off the hook, right? Like your guy's protected. It's not that you're building up so much of your damage. Now, at the top end of play, which is I think what they're targeting with this, they don't want to hurt the average Zarya who wasn't getting 50% on her shields anyways. They just want to make it so that way the guys that can track like crazy can't melt down a Winston in a half a second. And that's really like why Zarya was seeing so close to 100% pick play, was that you got these guys like Cool Matt, the guys that have transferred from DPS to tank are just their Roadhog and their Zaryas are just kind of bonkers, because their tracking is so incredible. They're always melting somebody's HP, and this is kind of needed, though Zarya mains aren't going to like it.
Yeah, I've kind of converted into a Zarya main, and the whole thing is like she has such good defensive play with her shields. Like her shields do so much to eat damage, and they're so annoying to play against, especially if the person utilizing the shields is good. And then also you just get powered up by using that. So like it was just like incidental. So I'm actually not too disappointed. I think this is a fair change, though. I'm sad because I just always want the heroes that I play to be overpowered, but I'd rather the game be balanced in the end. So whatever. Moving right along, Torbjorn got a pretty drastic change. Scrap is now automatically generated over time. The amount of scrap collected from a fallen enemy has decreased by 40%. His Forge Hammer speed has increased by 25%, and the damage is increased by 27%. Blizzard
decreased.
Decreased. Same thing.
The hammer swing damage.
The hammer swing is decreased by 27%, but the speed is increased by 25%. So it's probably roughly the same.
It's going to be faster to build up your turret, but pretty much the same if for whatever reason you're deciding to swing your hammer.
Right. And Blizzard said we're planning on kicking off another build for the weekend. Hopefully it will. Oh no, so yeah. No, that's sorry, that's not for Torbjorn specifically. That was just one of the notes I had. We also saw Widowmaker Venom Mine explosion no longer damages the player who placed the mine. So if you're placing a mine as Widow, you're not going to be taking your explosion damage. And the charge rate for Widow's Kiss has increased by 20%. So keeping Widow.
Which one is Widow's Kiss?
I'm guessing that's her ultimate. So it's
I
kind
feel
of
like- Okay.
neutralizing the nerf to ultimates for Widow. It's the same charge.
It's just a different format than the way they've updated the other ones. So I'm
No,
not
it's the same.
100%
It's the
certain.
same that they did for Diva, right?
Well, I mean, like in the patch notes, they say Blizzard ultimate cost has been increased by 15%. And this one says Widow's Kiss charge rate increased by 20%, which I think you're right. I believe that is the ultimate. I'm just not 100% positive. And they worded it a little funny to make me less sure. But let's for now assume it's the ultimate.
Okay,
That's the one that makes the
so
most sense.
her charge rate, so the rate at which she charges it is increased. So every time she deals damage, it's giving you more. For May, you still get the same amount of charge per hit that you do, but it now costs more to use it.
Okay.
Which is
Makes
slightly
sense.
different. Slightly different.
Yep.
Okay, so we also saw Farah rocket launcher minimum explosion damage has been increased to 25% of rocket's total damage, which formerly was 12%. And the minimum explosion knockback has been decreased to 0% of rocket's total knockback, formerly 75%. So you're now at the very edge of the explosion of Farah. You're getting more damage than you used to at the very edge of the explosion radius, but you're not knocking back people with your rocket.
Yeah, that's a big deal here, right? Because
Yeah.
Farah was already on, and I did some math on this. So back when I was on a team and it mattered, we did some testing, and I know that a direct hit from a rocket is 120 damage. So that means we're looking at an extra. So we're looking at like 150, 160, somewhere in that range. And then what is the damage amp from Mercy? That's not 200%, is it? It's
It used
150.
to. I think it used to be 200.
If it's 200%, you're one shot killing anybody with 300 HP, which is a huge deal. So
Yeah.
my gut is that it's not 100%, it's not double damage boost. No, it was the same as Orb, so it was 50%. So that would be
180.
So you're looking at
180.
about 200. So you're really close to being able to one-shot 200 HP characters with a damage amp, which is probably right? Because Farah hasn't been seeing a ton of play. You need a way to kind of bring her back in. Making Farah good makes Mercy better. We talked about that with hexagrams. You know, how do you bring Farah back into the meta? Buff Mercy. Just like you can help the other without touching them if you just buff the other guy. So it'll be really curious to see. But Mercy's next on our list. So what are they doing to her?
She's gonna her passive health regeneration now kicks in when Mercy avoids taking damage for 1 second instead of 3. So you better kill that Mercy, and you better kill her fast now.
Yeah, you know, she really has zero other ways to heal herself. So I think what this is going to do is maybe make, and probably not in comp play or anything, but it's going to make the possibility of a solo Mercy a little bit more viable. So it'll be real. I mean, for somebody that queues into rank sometimes and doesn't get anybody else to pick healer with him, and he's a support main, it's a really nice benefit. But like you said, you have to stay on that Mercy now. It makes it that much more important to find the wings and track them down and murder them.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it's Rosh, who was in the channel earlier, who was on the Payload podcast, could speak more to that, because I think she's like a top 10 NA Mercy. She's like insane. But yeah, definitely. I like seeing the other healers get buffed for sure. Although, I mean, it's almost like we complained so long about the Fantastic Four, and now it's like I kind of wish we would go back to it.
Yeah, there's something to be said for an expectation from the metagame, but I think overall, if they can get it to a point where it's healthy, if they can't, they need to give up on it and just embrace what they have and just go, all right, not every hero has to be playable in the top end tournament, and we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But for right now, I think it's right to keep trying to balance everything out. The thing with Mercy is it's not that she's weak that's the problem. It's that you can't live without speed burst, and you can't not have an Ana because they have an Ana. So, and this isn't a huge, massive, significant buff. They already improved her healing a little bit. That was very good, but it still wasn't enough. So I think they're fixing Mercy better by nerfing Lucio's healing than they are anything else.
True, and true. But that's pretty much it for the PTR changes, except for the ones that are happening literally as we're recording, which we'll probably talk about next week. But
hopefully at least half of the ones we just mentioned were already removed and we just don't know it yet. It'll be interesting to see, but I'm sure you guys are used to it now if you're repeat listeners, that things change from when we record and when the episode comes out. So keep in mind, take it with a grain of salt, that some of these things might not be live right now, and you should in fact look out for the most recent patch notes on the PTR if you can find them. And if you can't, just tweet at us and we'll send them to you.
Yes, that is 100% true. But that's going to be just about it. There's one last thing I wanted to mention, and I wasn't going to mention it, but since you said you hated Sombra stuff so much, I'm now going to mention it.
Great. Hold on one second.
So
wave at me when you're done.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of talk about November 1st being of significance for Sombra. They said something's going to happen on November 1st. It's like, okay, well, November 1st, it's a couple days before BlizzCon. It's the end of, it's right after Halloween. Like, okay, we get it. Something with Sombra. Here's something that's very interesting, and it's kind of weird. November 1st, and I checked this because I thought it was a troll thing at the first, like the things I see happen all the time where people go, did you know that this Halloween is the first Halloween in 666 years to be on Friday the 13th? Have you ever heard that meme go around? It's like so stupid. But November 1st is exactly 23 weeks from the release of Overwatch. Will we see Sombra on November 1st? Who knows?
I don't know. Would Blizzard put out a 2-month-long timer that ends with nothing other than a version number that means nothing to anybody in the history of mankind? That numbers meant nothing to anybody. Would they really do that? I don't know.
Have you seen the whole like fake emails and like the thing with the Dorado company and like all that stuff?
No, because I refuse to pay any
crazy.
attention until there's a video and she's playable on the PTR. I don't care at all about Sombra anymore.
This is what's going to happen.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I hate you. Fool me 3 times, shame on me. So I'm not letting him get me a 4th time because I'm already at fault for the.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen, and you heard it here first, folks. BlizzCon, November 1st, nothing. It's something stupid's going to happen. It's going to be another countdown. Who cares? BlizzCon opening ceremony comes out. Start doing it. They're going through a World of Warcraft thing. In the middle of the World of Warcraft thing, it's just gonna, all the lights are gonna go off. People are gonna scream, and you're just gonna see bzz, bzz, bzz. Sombra's gonna come up, take over. Real life Sombra's gonna come in and gonna gas everyone at BlizzCon, and that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get gassed at BlizzCon.
And that's how the Blevins died.
I died
and
getting
was left to solo
gassed
podcast about
at
Overwatch.
BlizzCon. It's gonna happen by real life Sombra. I can't wait. But that's all we've got for today's show, everybody. Of note, next week is going to be the last week before BlizzCon for me, and I don't think I'm going to be at the week after BlizzCon. I think I'm still going to be out. So maybe we get we'll talk about it. We might get a guest host or something, or we might take a week out. No, we'll probably get a guest host if nothing else, or I'll record from
I was going to say, worst case scenario, I'll just handle the recording and we'll like phone you in, or we'll do it later in the week or something like that. Just keep in mind there's a wonky week coming up where it's going to be difficult to do things as normal for us.
Yes.
But you won't care if you're at BlizzCon because you'll have more access to the Blevins than I will. So
that's true. Yes, if you guys are at BlizzCon and you want to meet up or something, tweet at me at _Blevins, or tweet at the show, whatever. If you see me at BlizzCon, please, I absolutely mean this, please come up and say hi, and let me know that you guys listen to the show. That happened to me at TwitchCon, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah, guys, if you see me at BlizzCon, let me know. But Deathblow, in the meantime, where can people find you on the internet?
Yes, theoretically speaking, I'll be doing some streaming this week, twitch.tv/D3ATH_BL0W, or you can find all the rest of the links on the website, highnoonpodcast.com.
Yes, please, guys, check out highnoonpodcast.com. Check out the YouTube. You don't need to subscribe. Don't need your subscription anymore. We got what we needed.
You can even unsubscribe.
You can
if
even
you really want
okay.
to.
Don't actually unsubscribe.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a little rude, but like, I'm not gonna be mad at you. About
it would be pretty rude. But thank you guys for that. I am going to post both the thank you video and the loot box opening video. Maybe not at the same time. I might spread them out, but keep an eye out for those. Like, comment, and let us know about how you like those or didn't like those. Guys, again, you can always catch us on highnoonpodcast.com. Tweet at us on Twitter at highnoonpodcast on Twitter. You can always check us out on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. Huge thanks to Creation Esports and Matt Chirino, our sponsors and pals and friends. Thank you to Adam Hook, who wrote and created and directed and starred in this awesome outro song that you're going to hear in just a second.
Also tweeted at us recently, so it's very nice to hear that, Adam, you are both still listening and still alive, because I couldn't vouch for either of them recently. I think he got a new Twitter account, so he had to like refollow us. But
nice. But again, thank you guys for that. And remember, guys, it's high noon. Rip, the music's dead. Rip. Maybe we won't hear music. Well,
we're sorry, Adam.
We're so sorry. Oh,
the song's good. It's not your fault we're not playing it.
The PowerPoint exploded. That's what happened. I'll just put it in the end. Okay, bye, guys.
Got his boots and he put on his hat. Threw the coin away that same day. It's in his past and he's not looking back. He says, finding mine now, God's my way. He's not good, but he sure ain't bad. He'll make amends for the sins that he has. He says, I'll change the world one bullet at a time, till I find mine.
Okay, guys, there actually was a thing at the end that I recorded in post-production. Let us know what you think of the 1v1 and on Kings Row thing that we want to do for our new show thing. Oh, okay, bye!